I didn't realize you were such a theater fan.
Yeah, like
you love musicals.
I've seen quite a lot. Yeah, a few years. I'd never watched it until about maybe like 6 years ago, and then I heard Hamilton. All I knew about Hamilton was it was like a hip hop musical, and I was like, I really want to go and see that. And an ex-girlfriend got me tickets to go and see it, and I remember being at the end of the first song like, "This is incredible." I couldn't believe it, and then I like watching them.
You want to know how incredible Hamilton is?
Yeah.
Once we went to like a private dance club in Hawaii. Strip club. But there's like a little private room where the strippers come in.
He's trying to be nice.
And they give you an aux cord and you get to control the music. And I go, Mark, you know what you got to do? He's like, I got it. I see Mark go up to the aux, plug it in, and the next thing I hear is dun 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 dun. How does a bastard son of a whore and a Scotchman in the middle? Within, I would say like 5 minutes, we were just singing and dancing, and the strippers were all just sitting down, like so confused.
They tipped well, though. They tipped us really well.
They did. They were good girls. They were trying to like give us drugs. They were just like, I think if we settle them down, they'll let us get naked.
I've been banging on about it for years that I really liked it, and the lads we do our podcast with have been like, I can't think of anything fucking worse. And I was like, you just got to see it. Like it's fucking great.
Yeah.
And then there was a touring version of it that came to Manchester, and I was like, look, we're going podcast night out, few beers, and we're going to see Hamilton. And the cast was so bad. And so I was sat next to Finn, who's one of our producers, and he loves it as well. And like Carl and Dan were sat behind us, and they'd been like fucking dragged to see this thing, you know what I mean? And we were about halfway through, and I just looked at Finn, and Finn was already looking at me, and Finn was like, this is a lot gayer than I remember it being. I was like, yeah, it really is. And like, it's not. And we got to the interval and went up, and I tried to be like, so what do you think? And Carl and Dan were like, are you fucking insane? It was so bad. If that was the first time I'd ever seen it, I wouldn't like it.
Is it weird to have that showing in England?
No.
Like the historical count of the Revolutionary War.
So like, this is...
There's no way you learn it how we learn it.
No, we don't learn it at all.
Yeah,
really.
Yeah.
Like we learn about World War II and that we won and you guys kind of helped, and that's pretty much all the history from like years.
So they lie to you in school?
Yeah. Or they lie to you?
No way. Well, somebody had to drop those nukes on the right? Somebody had to do it.
Yeah, you guys didn't have
Somebody had to stop that war that was already over and test some military weapons.
We don't learn anything about it. So
we didn't help out at all in the way you learned?
In World War II?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like the Americans sort of helped at the end, but this whole like we would be speaking German if it wasn't for America, it's just like that's not really true.
Really?
Yeah, it's just like we were gonna sort of, you know, like it would have been, we might have won anyway. Wow. Yeah, we won it.
Yeah.
That's Britain is like, no, we beat the Nazis. Winston Churchill defeated the Nazis.
Yeah.
He also murdered 1 million Indians, but shh, don't look at that. Like, we beat the Nazis.
Did you take out a mill?
It might have been, I don't know the exact number, but it was a lot.
It was a lot.
They don't love Churchill.
They don't love him at all over there.
So you just learn history through musicals.
Yeah.
He thinks Alexander Hamilton is black. I think to this day. He's like, yeah.
Do you know what's really funny about that is I know he isn't, but in my head he is. Like I have to like, do you know like when
you look at the $10 bill, you're like, who the fuck is this guy?
Like I have to genuinely have to correct that in my own head. I'm like, yeah, Aaron Burr is not a 4'9" black guy.
You know what's crazy? Hamilton in America was like in our generation was not a very popular figure.
Totally.
Like they were going to replace him, I think, on the bill.
I think that was the plan.
And Aaron Burr, the extent of Burr was a Got Milk commercial. Do you remember that commercial? He's eating a cookie and he doesn't have any milk and he like calls in some hotline to like win something. And he goes, and they go, who was the person that had a duel with Hamilton and then shot him and then killed Alexander Hamilton? And the guy goes, he can't get it out because he doesn't have milk. Do you guys not remember this commercial?
I vaguely remember now that you're saying.
I remember this my entire childhood going, I don't know who the fuck that guy is. And then I remember seeing Hamilton. I was like, oh, the milk guy.
What a legacy. Do you know what's really interesting about like the American Civil War thing is
Oh, real quick, sorry. So when you're watching a play of like the American Revolution in England, is there like a complete disconnect to an event that happened in history? Like, I don't think Americans are there yet to like have a play. Like, if there was a Vietnamese play about how they won the war, I don't think it'd be like celebrated in America.
I just think if, like, genuinely, even though we know it's not, it sort of like feels like fiction. Not that we're saying it's like lies. It just feels like. I love it. Do you know what I mean? It feels like Wicked. It's Wicked.
Things are so silly.
It's just not like and
it doesn't look like you're watching a loss.
No, and it's not like, it doesn't feel like that. And like, we're so small compared to you guys. Like, it doesn't make any sense that we would run this place, like, to me. Like, if I actually,
that's fascinating.
I've never really thought about it, but I'm thinking about it right now. And yet the idea
we were
of
a
like,
colony of you.
Yeah, like the idea that like, I don't even want the king to run Liverpool. Like, why would he have control of Baltimore? Like,
the king is the best character in it.
Oh, it's so funny.
I mean, it's amazing.
It's so funny. But like, you guys, I guess because you're taught of it as like this victory, and it's part of like the American thing is like, oh, we got our independence and
also rebellion is like part of the identity. So any story that has rebellion, we get all excited about. Like,
totally. And it's the only time it's ever been like sort of contextualized for me like that is, and it was to do with this show. So I went to Nashville in the summer. At the end of my tour, Alfie, who opens for me, and he's also a brilliant comic, and Jack, who was my tour manager, we went to Nashville for a week to just let rip, drink, music, whatever. And it was during CMA Fest, like the Country Music Association Festival. So they have like stadium shows. And I was like, well, on the Friday, we'll go to that. And we'll go and see that. And we're in the stadium. And I go to the bar and get some drinks. And as I get to the top of the stairs, some like real southern guy, like dressed and we're in the bleachers, you know, so, and he's got like, you know, a flannel shirt on, trucker cap. And he's like, hey man, can I get a quick photo with you? And I was like, yeah. He's like, oh, I seen you a while ago on Flagrant. I seen some of your stuff. I like it, man. I like it. Can we get a photo? And we take a photo. And I then go and carry on to go. And he goes, hey, Adam, don't forget the Civil War. Don't forget the Revolutionary War. And I was like, what? And he goes, we won, man. And I was like, and I get to the bar to Alfie and Jack. I was like, some guy just asked me for a photo and then started yelling about some war.
Yo, I loved that. I loved that.
I love you, but
I'm so kicked your ass. That's the most American.
Well, he'd see me on here, yeah.
Yeah, that's great. And shout out to him. I'm wondering, like, this is like, I guess, a peculiar question, but it's the observation I had when I was in Britain. Is there's all these tiny little towns that have kind of evolved independently from this idea of England, right?
Yeah.
And then the empire kind of swallows them all up.
Yeah.
But they have their own identities.
Some of them do.
Some of them do. Whereas like the states in America are added after the 13 as America.
Yeah.
Like if you choose, you don't have an identity outside of us.
Yeah.
Maybe Texas because they almost did their own thing, but it's rare. So I wonder if that changes things where like you don't really personalize like what the greater England did because there were people there 1,000 years ago just doing their thing anyway.
Yeah. And to be fair, you know,
like are there loyalists in Liverpool for the crown?
Yeah, but it's a very small minority.
Right.
And like,
what do you think of them?
Of the loyalists to the crown?
Yeah.
I don't speak to them.
Yeah.
They're not in my life. I just hear they exist, you know? This obviously, when I'm doing like podcasts and stuff in America like this, like people do want to talk about the British thing. I'm probably a really bad person to talk to about it because of the way Liverpool sees the rest. And I'm not as like hardline as some Scousers are with this.
Yeah.
You know, like there's a lot of like people from Liverpool who, when the England football team plays, they actively want them to win. Like if England are playing Spain, there's Scousers who will buy a Spain jersey and go to the pub in the Spain jersey and be like, come on Spain, because they hate it that much. With me, I kind of want England to win, and the second they lose, I'm like, who gives a shit? Whereas Liverpool can lose a game and it'll take me a month to get over it.
Got it.
Like there's such a, this is quite like, I don't really like the uber English attitude.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of the pride that like people on the centre right to the right of like British politics have is rooted in racism and colonialism.
Really?
It just is. It's like, we conquered the world. It's like, that shouldn't be your only reason to be proud of the country, because that's not actually a fucking good thing, you know?
Right.
So there's a lot of stuff to not like.
It's debatable. You know what I mean? Like, you go to some places that England never got to, and you're like, you could have used a little. You could have used a little bit. Right?
I just got back from India, and I'm telling you, we have left that place in a mess.
Yeah, but you didn't go before. It was crazy before, honestly.
They got a train now. It's pretty good.
Yeah, they love that thing.
The train is good, by the way. That was a real good train, by the way.
You're so British. See, the Colonial comes out. You know, it's the best train.
But when you see him on top of the train riding it, aren't you like, that was worth the jewel? Right? Like, they're enjoying that thing. So, imagine they got a roller coaster.
Oh.
If you dropped a roller coaster in Mumbai, dude, they would
Just
forget.
sort it out.
1 6
We're not even hungry anymore. We're having too much fun, team. This is insane.
You don't have to worry about them throwing up either. It's perfect.
I just don't identify. Like, it's funny. So a couple, like when...
But that's good perspective to have. Like, I think a lot of Americans don't know that about England. I think that we assume that every country is kind of like us, incredibly proud of themselves, and that's it. That's the identity. Yeah, we're divided in America, but for the most part, Americans are like, it's America, and then fuck the rest of y'all.
Yeah.
Whereas, you know, you go to Spain, and there are parts of Spain that are like, we're not Spanish.
Yeah, like Barcelona and that.
Catalonia, the Basque Country.
Yeah,
I mean,